If you want to put on as much muscle as physically possible as a teenager, then this is the only video you will ever need to watch. This is going to be a complete no bullshit guide. I'm not going to tell you to click some link in the bio, to pay some money, to learn more. Everything you need to know is going to be in this video. Why am I doing this? Because I wish I had this video when I was a teenager starting out at the gym. And since then, I've put on 25 kilograms or 55 pounds, increased my barbell squat to 200 kilograms, and increased my conventional deadlift to over 220 kilograms. This video is going to be broken down into 3 sections. Firstly, training. Secondly, nutrition. And thirdly, testosterone. If you have low testosterone as a teenager, you are literally minimizing progress. You could be making so much more if it was higher. There is a direct correlation between testosterone levels as a male and muscle growth. It is the male hormone, and if you don't have enough, you're not going to be putting on as much muscle mass as you should be. So make sure you watch until the end of the video to learn about that. Get a pen and paper, take notes, sit back and enjoy this video. So topic number 1. Training. On social media, there's so much noise about this area. How many sets should I do? How many days a week should I train? Should I do these optimal exercises? But I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. So how much should you be training? Now, ideally, you want to be training every single muscle group a minimum of 1 time a week and a maximum of 2 times a week. Training the same muscle group more than twice a week is just not necessary. You're not going to be giving your muscles enough time to recover, and therefore they're not going to grow. Also, if you can only train every single muscle group 1 time a week, that's absolutely fine. There's more important things than volume. So ideal splits to do this. Now, if you can only train 3 times a week, just do push-pull legs. That way you're training every single muscle group 1 time per week. If you can train 4 times a week, I would suggest doing upper lower, upper lower. That way you're doing less volume on the days for every single muscle group, but you're training every muscle group twice a week. 5 days, you should be going for a push-pull legs upper lower split. Again, training every single muscle group, but with a bit more volume. And if you can train 6 days a week, then do a push-pull legs, rest, push-pull legs, and just repeat that. This is what I have been doing for the last 5 to 6 years. Now, in the past, I have hugely promoted optimal training, you know, how to maximize your progress through an exercise and what are the best exercises to do. But in all honesty, there are way more important things than optimal exercises. Now, of course, there are better exercises, hence why I talk about that. For example, you will see more muscle growth in your chest if you opt for a Smith machine press over a barbell press. Why? Because the Smith machine provides more stability, and therefore you can take your chest closer to failure. You're also going to be using way less stabilizing muscles, so therefore you can isolate your chest more. So yeah, I could ramble on about what exercises to do all day, but ideally, pick an exercise that is super stable. That is going to maximize muscle growth. So stable exercises include less free weights and more machines. Now, this isn't to say you should never pick up a free weight or a dumbbell, because I do every single session. I still barbell squat over the Smith squat. Why? Because I enjoy it. So just pick exercises that are super stable, you always have access to, so you can frequently do them and then progressive overload on, and exercises you enjoy, because if you're not motivated to do them, then you're not going to continue to do them and then progressive overload on them. Now, ideally, you want a slower eccentric and a quicker concentric. Your concentric should be as quick as possible. You're trying to be as explosive as possible, but just control the eccentric. You know, don't dive bomb onto your chest. You're going to be missing out on so many gains. Rep ranges. Now, to be honest, the rep range you can build muscle in is 5 to 30 reps. However, I would never go as high as 30 reps. I'd even stick to less than 12 reps. Why? Think about it like this. If you're doing a 30 rep set, think of how many of those reps are actually going to be hard. Maybe the last 5. So the first 25 reps, they are just building up to those last 5 reps. And the hard reps are the ones that are going to make you grow. So instead of doing 25 warm-up reps, why don't you just do 5 reps anyway? Therefore, every single one of them is going to be hard, and it's going to be super efficient at building muscle. For some reason, most people are super scared of lower rep ranges when it comes to muscle growth, but they are, if not more important than those higher rep ranges. There's going to be way more intensity involved, they're going to be way more efficient, and you're going to be able to track your form way better. So stick to 5 to 12 reps. I mainly do 5 to 8, but with exercises such as a lateral raise where it might be quite hard to keep your form tight, then you can go a bit higher to 8 to 12 reps. Intensity. Now, if you watch me, you know I absolutely love intensity. I rinse it. I think it's the most important thing in the gym. Why is intensity important? So yes, you can still make progress by leaving reps in reserve. However, there's so many problems with that. Firstly, People don't know what a rep in reserve is. They could be thinking they're leaving 2 reps in reserve when in reality, they may be leaving 5 or 6 if they don't know how to train hard. Secondly, it's hard to progressive overload. If you get 1 more rep the next session, but you left reps in reserve, then are you overloading the muscle or are you just working harder? And lastly, it's just fun. So I suggest you train to failure on almost all your sets within the 5 to 12 rep range. And if you're doing that, you're gonna be wanting to do less sets. So I only do 2 sets per exercise. I will sometimes do 3 sets on an exercise such as a lateral raise or maybe a calf raise because they're muscles that recover quicker and you never seem to get DOMs in. You don't need to be doing 3 sets of squats to failure. I basically do 1 set of squats every single session to failure because they fry my legs and I would not be able to recover and then perform the second leg session of the week if I was to do any more than 1 set. So just do less sets with more intensity in those lower rep ranges. Now, progressive overload, the most important thing when it comes to training to building muscle. You want to be overloading every single session with the exact same form. If you change your form, you haven't overloaded, you're just doing a different exercise. If you keep your form really tight on a dumbbell press 1 week and then the next week you get more reps, but you are rushing the reps, that is not overloading, mate. Your form needs to be almost identical for true progressive overload to occur. Now, what does progressive overload mean? So it does not mean just increasing your volume every week. That is not progressive overload. This is the proper way to progressive overload. So you pick a rep range, let's say 5 to 8 reps. On week 1, you start with the 30 kilogram dumbbells for 5 reps. Week 2, ideally you want to get 6. Week 3, you want to get 7. On week 4, you want to be getting 8 reps, all with the same form. Once you reach those 8 reps, you simply just increase the weight to 32 kilogram dumbbells, and again you should be getting 5 to 6 reps as it's now going to be harder. You then repeat that process, so week 2 6 reps, week 3 7 reps, and week 4 8 reps, and then increase the weight again. All you do is just keep repeating this process for years on end. It's as simple as that. I have overloaded exercises for 5 to 6 years now. I used to barbell squat 80 kilograms. I can now barbell squat 180 kilograms for 5 reps. And that is just due to overloading every single week, keeping good form and training to failure. It's as simple as that. And if you do overload, guess what? Your muscles have to grow to adapt to this new load they are experiencing. And finally, exercise variation. Shocking the muscle isn't a thing. I'm sorry, mate. Even though Arnold preached it, it doesn't make sense. What's most important is progressive overload. So if you're constantly changing the exercise, you're never ever going to be overloading the muscle. You're just providing a new stimulus each week, and therefore the muscle doesn't have to get bigger to deal with that new stimulus. So train every single muscle group 1 to 2 times per week. Stick in those 5 to 12 rep ranges. Do 1 to 2 sets with maximal intensity. Don't vary your exercises. I think that's everything training related, but if there's anything specifically you want to know, just comment down below. Topic number 2, nutrition. Now, people make out nutrition to be so complicated to build muscle, but it is so simple. Firstly, I don't care what you've heard on the internet, just remember this. You need to be in a calorie surplus to build muscle. Body weight has a direct correlation with strength. That is why all the strong men are super big and fat and muscly at the same time, because they want to be as strong as possible. So if you are putting on weight, fat, or just muscle mass, you're going to be getting heavier, and therefore you're going to be getting stronger, and therefore guess what? You're going to be able to overload. If you're in a calorie deficit, you are not going to be building muscle. That is a fact. The only tiny exception to this is if you're an absolute newbie, so you're going to be in those newbie gains and you're going to be gaining muscle at a quicker pace. However, you should still just be in a calorie surplus, because who doesn't want to build muscle at a quicker rate? If you are not in a calorie surplus, your body is just not in the right state to build muscle. It is not thinking about putting on muscle mass because it does not have the energy or the fuel it needs. It's simply just thinking about survival. So give your muscles a chance and eat in a calorie surplus. Do not worry about putting on a bit of fat. You're going to look even better because you're going to be putting on muscle as well. But how do I know how many calories to eat? Well, a super simple way to start is finding out your body weight in pounds, which is just kilograms times 2.205, and then times in your body weight in pounds by 15. And then add 500 to that number. That is going to be the baseline calorie surplus. If you're at a bit of a higher body fat, maybe start with 200 or 300. But if you're a skinny guy like I was, then 500 is a good number. Then every 2 weeks, simply just add 100 calories to this number. I will put up an example on the screen now so you understand what I'm saying, but that is probably the best way to do it. When do you stop? When you simply are happy with your body weight, or if you're putting on fat way too quick, then just stay on the same number for as long as you need until you stop putting on weight. It's as simple as that. How much protein should you be eating? Now, I bet you have seen so many different figures online, but simply 1 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound you weigh will be absolutely fine. For example, I weigh around 190 pounds. So if I was to eat 190 grams of protein, that would be fine. Now I do eat about 250 grams per day, but that's just because I can. Yes, it may help me slightly put on more muscle, but 190 grams is still fine. So just remember that. Carbs. Now carbs are the most underrated thing when it comes to building muscle. Carbs are your absolute main energy source. If you do a keto diet or you don't eat any carbs in your diet, you are not going to be able to have the energy to lift heavier weights every single day in the gym. And what a lot of people do not know is that protein can also be used as a fuel source. So if you're not eating enough carbs, your body is going to burn protein as a fuel. Now, where does the protein live? In your muscles. And if you do that, your muscles will shrink. So just have high carbs. It's as simple as that. Don't believe in any sort of diet bullshit that they tell you. Just have a balanced diet with high carbs, high protein, and then moderate levels of fat. Now, don't be scared of fat. Fat is one of the reasons your testosterone is high. So healthier fats are obviously more important, but you should not be scared of having a McDonald's occasionally, all right? It's still gonna have high protein and high carbs. I have had many McDonald's in my time, let me tell you that. However, I would never ever suggest eating a higher fat meal before you train. From experience, this makes you feel like shit. If you feel like shit at the gym, you're not gonna perform well. Every single time I've ever had a high fat meal before the gym, I haven't had a good training session. Try and eat as clean as you can before the gym, and then after the gym, also have a high carb meal. This is when you're gonna be in the state to take in those carbs to your muscles to replenish all your stores. So you want high carbs before the gym for the energy, and then high carbs after the gym for replenishment. This is why carbs are so underrated. Supplements. Now, do they help? Absolutely. Are they necessary? Absolutely not. Would my physique right now be any different if I had never taken a supplement? Maybe the tiniest bit, but maybe not even noticeable amounts. So even though I am sponsored by a supplement company, I'm telling you that is a fact. You don't need any supplements to build muscle. However, again, they do help. And if you wanted to know the best ones that are going to help you, then here they are. Firstly, protein powder, just because it's a quick source of protein. It's easy to get in and it's easy to digest. Is it any different from normal sources of protein? No, the only difference is it might be slightly quicker absorbing as it's super isolated. However, eating some chicken or steak is going to be just as good. Creatine. Now, creatine is way too overhyped, but it is the most researched supplement out there that is natural. And yes, it does increase your strength for the gym, and therefore if you're stronger, you're going to be overloading, and therefore if you're overloading, you're going to be putting on muscle. It also fills your muscles with water, so you're going to look fuller if you're taking creatine. But if you want to buy it, I would suggest it, and you can use my flipping code right there. All other supplements are unnecessary. You don't need them. What else do I take though personally? I take zinc and magnesium before bed because it does help your recovery. But like I said, it's not necessary. You don't need multivitamins if you have a balanced diet. You don't need omega-3 if you have a balanced diet. But if you don't have anything that has omega-3 in, then I suggest taking it. So eating the calorie surplus that I suggested, eat a high amount of protein, eat a high amount of carbs, keep your fats at moderate levels, try to have more carbs before and after training, and you should be sweet. Finally, testosterone. If you have low testosterone as a teenager, you're not going to be putting on muscle as quick as you should be. That is why bodybuilders inject testosterone, because the higher the testosterone, the more muscle you're going to build. Now, please never do steroids, but there are so many ways you can naturally increase your testosterone. Now, how do you know if you have low testosterone? Well, normal symptoms are low sex drive, no morning wood, you're always feeling tired, you're not putting on muscle as quick as you should be, and you're just overall feeling pretty low. Now, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, I seriously suggest you get a blood test. I have always done blood tests, but if my testosterone was super low, I would have been wasting so much time, and I could have done something about it. Now, you can get a proper blood test done. However, if you don't want to do that, you can just order a finger prick one to your home. I've made a video about that on my Instagram. So how do you increase your testosterone naturally? Now, firstly, heavy weight training. Of course, the more you're going to be training in the gym, you are going to be boosting your testosterone naturally. So remember, just stay in those lower rep ranges between 5 and 8 reps, and you will be increasing your testosterone. Having a good amount of sleep. Now, I could have done a whole section in this video about sleep. It is that important, but all I suggest is having 8 or more hours sleep a night and trying to have as good quality sleep as you can. Eating a healthy diet. Now, if you're filling your body with shit all the time, you are gonna have low testosterone. Healthy fats are super important for testosterone, so stuff like salmon, avocado, nuts, stuff like that are going to really help you increase your testosterone. Lower your alcohol consumption. Now, alcohol literally kills gains. And just exercise frequently. Higher heart rates when you're exercising increase testosterone. That has been shown in studies. If you do everything I said in this video, you will be maximizing your muscle growth as a teenager and putting on strength as quick as possible. So if you want to repay me for that free information, all I'm asking for is firstly, you please subscribe and you just follow my socials. My Instagram will be linked below, george.porritt. Use all my codes at checkout as that helps me out a lot and it helps me to do this full time. Comment down below if you have any more questions and see you later.